Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Adekunle in our major story. President Goodluck Jonathan proposes a hall of shame from criminals in Nigeria. Also in this program, the All Progressives Congress blasts the PDP National Secretary over comments on Buhari. Fuel queues return to Abuja despite the end of oil workers' strike. And outside Nigeria, France says it will be stepping up security in the country following a series of bloody, unrelated attacks. President Goodluck Jonathan has made a case for what he terms a hall of shame to document the names of criminals in the country. The president gave the suggestion on Tuesday while receiving a group of filmmakers, the legends of Nollywood, who were at the presidential villa to confer on him the title of Grand Patron of the Body. He argues that criminal acts would be less attractive for the younger generation if names of known criminals are immortalized.
Your idea of a Hall of Fame something I remember even when I was in Governor of Bayelsa State, I was thinking about building a kind of a Hall of Fame and a Hall of Shame. But people will not want the Hall of Shame. I say, even these armed robbers have been shot. Let us write their names and their families in the Hall of Shame, so that people will know that don't go and they will want their children. Please don't go and bring bad history to this family, because when you do that. When you do that, you put the family name there.
President Goodluck Jonathan on Tuesday has hailed the cordial bilateral relations between Nigeria and Ethiopia, which is said has encouraged leading Nigerian companies to establish branches in the Horn of Africa nation. Speaking at an audience with outgoing Ethiopian ambassador to Nigeria, Ali Suleiman, he noted that economic ties between both countries have improved significantly in the last 3 years. President Jonathan also observed that the bilateral air services agreement, BASA, between both countries has resulted in regular flights from Addis Ababa to 4 major cities in Nigeria: Abuja, Lagos, Enugu, and Kano. Suleiman, who served in Abuja for 3 years, told the president he was living with very happy memories of Nigeria. And in a related development, President Goodluck Jonathan has assured the international community of his support for mutually beneficial trade and economic relations between Nigeria and other developing nations. Speaking at separate audiences with the new ambassadors of Cuba and Zimbabwe, President Jonathan said the federal government will welcome greater economic ties with Cuba, Zimbabwe, and other emerging economies. This, is said, is in keeping with Nigeria's commitment to privatization, trade liberalization, and the full diversification of its economy. President Jonathan wished the new ambassadors successful tenures in Abuja and assured them of cooperation in the bid to enhance existing bilateral relations between Nigeria and their countries. The new ambassadors on their part assured him that they will work hard to boost trade and economic relations with Nigeria. Fuel queues are again back on the streets of the Federal Capital Territory, barely a week after an oil workers' strike nearly crippled socio-economic activities in the Nigerian capital. This time, the cause of the fuel lines is not clear, although many residents are convinced the situation has to do with hoarding and panic buying. Basi Aye went around town to fill the polls of FCT residents.
For the second time in less than 2 weeks, queues have resurfaced at several fuel stations in the nation's capital. But this time, it appears to be a case of panic buying, as motorists do not spend lots of time before getting the commodity. Commuters are also finding it difficult to move from one location to the other. Many of them have to literally fight to board the available vehicles plying the roads. With the current situation, some of the people who spoke with CoreTV News are at a loss on what could be the reason. This is because fuel still sells at the regular pump price of 97 naira a litre.
We experienced it yesterday evening. They have a long queue, people are suffering. Even just now, I left from NNPC until the thing went round. I came back here now and joined another line. They just stopped, say that they are no more selling. And there is fuel there. There's no reason they give us. They said they want to rest for a certain time.
And while the station manager declined to speak with the crew, there are speculations on what could be the reason for the long queues.
It has happened that the talk of fuel, the strike, at least about 2-3 days after, they said the strike is off and we're still experiencing the queue at the filling station. We doesn't know the causes.
The recent oil workers' strike may have come and gone, but queues are back and black market operators continue to have a field day. In the midst of this, Abuja residents can only wonder when it will all end. Basi Aye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Nigerians all over the world are known for their ubiquitous nature, especially at this period of the year. Usually, airports and bus parks in the country are very busy and filled with traveling holiday makers. The story, however, appears not the same this time around, as lesser number of Nigerians have opted to stay back at home. Find out why as Omotayo Alo visited some motor parks in Lagos and returned with this report.
This time of the year is usually the busiest, especially as Nigerians tend to outdo each other in last-minute activities. The rush results most often in heavy movement of human and vehicular traffic in major cities around the country. The traffic gridlock on the road at this time also leaves much to be desired as Nigerians sweat it out endlessly. In recent times, safety for all has become a top priority amongst Nigerians. The issue has become more serious in the wake of Boko Haram's attack on helpless people with bus parks among their major targets. It is against this backdrop that the Inspector General of Police, Sulaiman Abba, issued a security alert on soft targets, including motor parks ahead of Yuletide. The warning is a hint against possible attack on holiday makers, especially at motor parks and other places of public interest. These motor park operators in Lagos narrate the measures they have put in place to ensure passengers' safety.
Before the passenger enters our bus, we make sure they are being tested without gadgets. When we discover anything negative, we hinder him of not to enter the bus and alert our security men to arrest him. But thank God, since almost 3 or 4 months now, we have been using that gadget. Nobody has fucked it in.
We give our drivers fully orientation by not drinking when you are driving, and not to be overspeeding on the way. And at the same time, we are security conscious.
Though the security measures put in place were not evident at the parks when CoreTV visited, these passengers expressed confidence about their safety and are happy that the travel fares have not been hiked even in the festive period, as usually witnessed in the past at this time.
As for this bus, I have not seen something like of such, but I can't talk about the other buses around here.
They are not going to increase their motor price. Everything is normal.
One of the drivers at the motor parks ascribed the low patronage to the poor economic situation in the country.
The transport is not go up at all because there's no passenger. If there's passenger, the reason why the transport fares go rise up before is that when the passenger come to the park, if they don't see motor, any motor that this is what I want to do, so they will avoid it. But as at now, there's no passenger now. See the motor, so the price is not rise at all.
With the countdown to Christmas and New Year still on, Nigerians, being the happy people they are noted for around the world, remained unshaky even in the face of unfavorable economic climate, though with caution over growing insecurity. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar wants Nigerians to celebrate Christmas with renewed hope for a better Nigeria. He also urged them to promote peace during this season of joy and good tidings. Atiku said in a goodwill message by his media office in Abuja that in spite of the difficult challenges, Christians and indeed all Nigerians should celebrate with hope and prayers that God will heal the land. He urged Nigerians, irrespective of their beliefs, to promote peace and harmonious coexistence. Kaduna State Governor Mukhtar Yero has distributed 69,000 bags of rice to the less privileged residents of the state ahead of the Christmas festivities. The governor explained that the rice were distributed under the government's poverty alleviation program. Yero added that the government would ensure that the 6 kg bag of rice would go around the 23 local government areas of the state. It's the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break and we'll return with more stories. Please stay with us.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Professor. My former students. Happy birthday.
Every day, life is made better by the moments of surprise we create for others and for ourselves. Be better. Surprise someone this season and make sure to text 11 to 400 to get a surprise from MTN. MTN, everywhere you go.
Mommy Bola le karo. Yakudi e karo customer.
Make we dey always follow our conscience because e dey tell us the correct thing.
I suppose Sabi waiting good.
Do the right thing. Let's change the way we think.
Thank you so much for being there. And if you're just joining us, it's the CoreTV Primetime News, and here are the stories that made our headlines. President Goodluck Jonathan proposes a hall of shame for criminals in Nigeria. The All Progressives Congress blasts the PDP National Secretary over comments on Buhari. Fuel queues return to Abuja despite the end of all workers' strike. You can also reach us on a social media platform. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, then news. A statement ostensibly credited to the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Wale Oladipo, that the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, is semi-illiterate, is beginning to generate hits in the polity. Already, the Director of Publicity of the Buhari 2015 Support Group Center, Chidia Makdueke, had expressed shock about the comments, which is said showed the depth of PDP's understanding of its principle. Oluwaseyi Adegoke met with the chairman of the APC in Lagos and a political analyst on the issue. She filed in this report.
With the general elections gradually drawing close, and with many observers expecting an issue-based campaign to help Nigerians make a wise choice during the polls, the polity is daily being heated as politicians engage themselves in a bric-a-brac of all kinds. The latest, however, was an obvious indirect attack on the literacy level of the APC presidential candidate, Muhammadu Buhari, in a statement credited to the PDP national scribe, Wale Oladipo. The comment has again added to the list of non-issue-based campaigns in the run to the 2015 polls. The chairman of the APC in Lagos, Henry Ajomale, is taken aback by the comment, which he described as rude and condemnable.
You can't say in the name of politics and insult a man who has contributed so much to Nigeria development. He was the head of state, he was a minister, and he's above board. This is a man who is above, you cannot spoil him, he's above board. And for that, you cannot insult him. Even without his age, his personality is there as the former head of state. And you call him jackboot. He's a man who has sacrificed his life for this country in so many ways. I believe he's not trained well, he's not cultured. Therefore, he belongs to the zoo.
A political analyst, Bala Zaka, not wanting to appear partisan, says Nigeria is only interested in a candidate that will make the country better.
I think considering the economic situation of Nigeria today, considering the general security situation in Nigeria today, what Nigeria is after fundamentally to lead this country is somebody that has the creativity, right, innovation and the firepower to lead. That simply means credentials are one thing, but ability of somebody to convert credentials, whether academic, military, social, or entrepreneurial credential to lead this country forward is what Nigerians are after. We are not interested, right, in paper competence. We are interested in practical competence as Nigerians today.
So, how many of Nigeria's politicians are ready to hearken to the advice of people like Zaka to desist from rude comments and focus on working to make Nigeria better through issue-based campaigns for the 2015 general elections? Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Many residents of the Federal Capital Territory are critical over the manner some wealthy Nigerians and government officials raised more than 21 billion naira for the presidential campaign of the People's Democratic Party. They argue that it's not healthy for a country that is feeling the impact of the slump in oil prices, but some say it is not different from the practice in other developed democracies of the world. Pius Samuel tells us more.
This is the fundraiser where over 21 billion naira was realized for President Jonathan's campaign for a second term. The huge donation does not appear to tally with provisions of the Electoral Act. A number of state governors also put in about 2 billion naira into the campaign coffers. At a time, Section 221 of the 1999 Constitution prohibits state governments from contributing to the election expenses of any candidate or aspirant. All these are coming at a time some FCT residents say November and December salaries have not been paid.
PDP is like an NGO. They need money for their campaign.
They call well-wishers. They didn't force anybody. And they came and donated to them. So nothing spoiled. Nothing spoiled for anybody. Even if they got 100 billion, it's their own pocket. APC can equally do the same.
People who always want to contribute. I'm sure the person who may have done that has vision. He may have concluded that maybe PDP will continue, so let him invest so that he can be recognized tomorrow. So maybe the person must be a businessman.
It's a welcome development because even in overseas, when Obama was on their own, he even affected the Nigerian. We say that we must contribute anything you have to make the government fine.
Section 91 of the Electoral Act, as well as the provisions of the Code of Conduct for political parties and elections, also limit individual donations and contributions to a maximum of 1 million naira. But this does not seem to bother this politician. He says making donations to political parties is a global practice.
You remember that Obama had enough donation that at the end of his even victory, there was a surplus in the campaign fund account. So what has happened here is the right practice that is done in any democratic system, where people in support of a particular political party come out their money to support the campaigns. It is a marked departure from what it used to be, that the sitting government will just dip their hands into the coffers and use it to campaign. But PDP has shown clearly that even when we have the advantage of incumbency, we will still not touch public funds earmarked for other projects, but rather we will call upon our friends and supporters who God has blessed to help us fund our campaign movements.
There are others who are not convinced, like this man who does not see the basis for spending a huge sum of money on campaigns at a time the masses are suffering.
Some people come out to donate billions of naira. And the way I picture it, is the president is collecting money from the rich to buy votes from the poor. Now when he wins, the poor will pay back with their blood because they don't have the money to pay, but they must pay back somehow. And that is the problem we have in this country. So the common man should just, galvanize now. They need to mobilize themselves, and say no. No to this impunity, no to this nonsense going on in the country.
As the country braces up for the 2015 elections, Nigerians are wondering whether the political class considers the feelings of the average people in the run-up to the elections. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
And while friends of the People's Democratic Party were raising 21 billion naira for President Goodluck Jonathan, Buhari support groups have realized over 54 million naira for the presidential campaign team of the All Progressives Congress. Briefing journalists in Abuja, the APC flag bearer, Muhammadu Buhari, disclosed that the funds were raked in through the efforts of 82 support groups across the country. While expressing his appreciation to the groups, the former head of state appealed to them to continue to make sacrifices for change.
In the region of 80,492,226 across the length and breadth of this country. We intend to use the registration and donation cards to enlist the members of the groups as volunteer change agents, and also capture the special distribution of our donors. So far, so good. We have received donation of 54 million.
A federal high court sitting in Abuja has fixed January 14th for hearing in the suit filed by former Minister of State for Defense Musiliu Obanikoro to challenge the conduct of the recent governorship primaries of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos State. Justice Ahmed Mohammed set the date on Tuesday after the plaintiff's counsel, James Odimba, had asked for time to study a counter affidavit filed by the PDP. Obanikoro, in his affidavit, claimed that the primaries were skewed in favor of Jimmy Agbaje by party leaders and wanted the court to order a fresh process. But the PDP, which was directed to turn up or risk a restraining order, filed an objection which led to the adjournment.
Discussing matters in court on camera. the matter has been adjourned. No order has been made, and the court had offered an advice to the parties. Nothing is stopped. The political process is going on, and the injunction sought has been adjourned. It's not granted as of today, so it's still to be argued. So I don't normally argue my matters on the media, but I know that until the 14th of January, the court will look at the matter again. And of course, the plaintiff had informed the court of moves by the parties to take a second look at this case, whether it should remain in court.
A former Speaker of Ondo State House of Assembly, Ayo Agbomoseri, has defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State. Agbomoseri, who was the Speaker of the state legislature during the late Adebayo Adefarati's regime before he decamped to the PDP, says his joining the APC is a homecoming. It says his departure from the PDP was due to lack of internal democracy and justice, adding that the crisis which followed the arrival of the Labour Party into the PDP has crippled the latter. Chairman of the APC in Ondo State, Isaac Kekemeke, congratulated the defectors for having the foresight and courage to leave the PDP, adding that the APC is a moving train everyone wants to join so as to be part of the imminent change. He also assured the defectors that all members are one, as there is no dichotomy of old or new members in the party. The federal government has assured civil servants in some ministries, departments and agencies that their 3-month salary arrears would be paid before Christmas. Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala gave the assurance in a statement issued by a special advisor on communication, Paul Nwabuiku, in Abuja. She said the salaries had since last Friday been processed and would be released as soon as possible. At least 14 NDAs are affected by what the Finance Ministry claims is a technical glitch which affected the integrated personnel and payroll information system. It says the system shut down the process in the MDAs as a result of an alleged misuse of salary budgets to pay promotion arrears and other allowances. The ministry added that steps have been taken to rectify the problem with a view to paying the salary arrears of staff of the affected government agencies. We'll go on another break now and we'll be back with sports, business and stories from outside Nigeria.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Professor. My former students. Happy birthday.
Every day, life is made better by the moments of surprise we create for others and for ourselves. Be better. Surprise someone this season and make sure to text 11 to 400 to get a surprise from MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
And now to business news. President Goodluck Jonathan said on Tuesday that his administration had managed the country's economy to become the greatest in Africa and one of the largest in the world. He said this in Port Harcourt at the inauguration of Enugu-Port Harcourt's intercity train service. Represented by his vice, Namadi Sambo, the president said his government has changed the course of history in the country and that's that would construct coastal railway line from Lagos to all producing states of the Niger Delta and link up commercial cities in the southeast. The Abuja-Kaduna Rail project, according to him, is at 90% completion stage, while the Warri-Itakpe project was at an advanced stage, adding that he has fulfilled his electioneering campaign promises. In his contribution, Idris Umar, the Minister of Transport, said the contribution of Lagos-Ibadan railway line would commence soon, while 90% of the existing rail lines in the country is currently being rehabilitated. The Ogun Internal Revenue Service said on Tuesday it generated 15.14 billion naira between January and October. This was said at the Ogun State House of Assembly by the chairman of the service, Babajide Odubanjo, while defending the 2015 budget proposal of the agency. According to Odubanjo, the revenue was raised from stamp duty, articulated vehicles dealers' permits and licenses, road taxes, and tax investigations. He told the lawmakers that the agency was expected to generate 36.77 billion naira in 2015. The agency had proposed 1.5 billion naira as its total expenditure, made up of 400 million naira projected capital expenditure and 1.1 billion naira recurrent expenditure. The major target of the agency in 2015 is to improve tax revenue by 50%. The Kaduna State government has proposed a 203.7 billion naira expenditure plan for the 2015 fiscal year. The budget, tagged Budget of Consolation and Continuity, has a capital expenditure of 130.9 billion naira and recurrent expenditure of 106.2 billion naira. Governor Mukhtar Yero presented the budget to the State House of Assembly with a promise that attention would be paid to improving infrastructures in schools as well as the general development of the state. He assured lawmakers and the citizenry of government's readiness to be transparent and prudent in its spending. Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries has said it will not cut oil production even if the price drops to $20 a barrel. Oil Minister Ali Al-Naimi said this at the Middle East Economic Survey. The decision, which sends global crude oil prices falling to almost 50%, slower demand growth and a stronger dollar have also contributed to the slump. Naimi feels it is unfair for the cartel to reduce output and lose business to other major producers outside OPEC because it is not pumping most of the world's oil. Let's now join Sabena Izoku for Stock Market Report.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report is brought to you by MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabena Izuku. The equities market on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a positive note for the second day this week. The All Shares Index appreciated by 4.51% to close at 32,786 basis points. The market capitalization increased to close at 10.8 trillion naira. A total of 440.8 billion units of shares valued at 4.1 billion naira were exchanged in 4,964 deals. On the gainers side, Sepleton, Oil and Nestle have topped the gainers chart twice this week, with Nestle closing at 877 naira 80 kobo with a gain of 41 naira and 80 kobo, followed by Seplet Oil, Dangote Cement, 7up and Guinness. On the loser side, 40 Oil topped the chart, followed by GlaxoSmithKline, Nigerian Breweries, International Breweries and PZ. Meanwhile, Zenith Bank topped the traders chart, followed by Multiverse, Resortcell, Axis Bank, and First City Merchant Bank of Nigeria. Just before we wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report is brought to you by MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Thank you, Sabina. Now let's go around the world of sports with Frank Omalape.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Usain Bolt storming through. Puyol with a flying lead.
Go taking them out in the lead and really.
Thank you for joining us on Sports News tonight. Hi, I'm Frank Omalape. Management of Nigeria's Under-20 team, the Flying Eagles, have called up 9 foreign-based professionals and 21 other Nigerian-based players for a training camp in Kaduna from Saturday. This followed on from a screening exercise earlier this month, also in Kaduna. The pros are Grenada CF striker Isaac Success, Taiwo Awoniyi from Kalmar of Sweden, as well as Manchester City pair of Kelechi Iheanacho and Chidebere Nwakali. The Flying Eagles have been drawn in the tough-looking Group A of the 2015 African Youth Championship along with host Senegal, Congo and Cote d'Ivoire. The team opens its African Youth Championship campaign on March 8 against Senegal in Dakar. The team then back to Congo on March 11 before the final group game against Cote d'Ivoire on March 14 in Malabo, which is 80 kilometers south of Dakar. In our Syria, strugglers Cagliari have sacked coach Zinedine Zidane after 2 wins in 16 matches left them in the relegation zone. An unofficial announcement by the club state Cagliari Calcio announced that from today Zinedine Zidane is not coach of our team. The club also thanked the coach and all his staff for the work they have done during the trying month with great professionalism and dedication. The 67-year-old Czech coach took charge of Cagliari in July, but the Sardinians have not won a home league game in this campaign and sit 18th with only Cesena and Parma below them. Zeman was fired by Roman in February following a disastrous 9-month in charge that saw the club lose 9 times in 23 games, leaving them languishing in mid-table. Reports say that at least half a dozen coaches have applied to replace John Obu as coach of Enugu Rangers. A source at the Antelope House says some of those who have applied to replace Obu, whose contract was up, are top-notch coaches in the domestic league. The source, however, says the identity of the coaches is being kept a secret for now, while also disclosing that a clear-point front-runner for the job will emerge by the end of the year. The Paul Chibuzo-led management of Rangers has since emergence hired and fired over 5 head coaches: Christian Chuku, Alfonso Dike, Oke Modi twice, and John Obu, with the Flying Antelope yet to win a major trophy in over 3 decades and placing 8th in the last league season. And finally, now, British NFL player Menelik Watson has donated his payment from Sunday's game between the Oakland Raiders and the Buffalo Bills to the family of a 4-year-old girl who has a heart condition. Raiders offensive lineman Menelik, 26, handed over the check worth around €12,000 after tax to Varua's father following the game. The girl suffered from hypoplastic left heart syndrome. The Raiders won the game 26-24 to deny the Bills a playoff place, with the team led out as captain for the day by Ura Kossi of the Touchdown Dreams project, which helps ill children. She received a signed helmet and autographed footballs from players, as well as a check from Watson. Well, and that's a wrap on Sports News tonight. I am Frank Omalape.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And now outside Nigeria, French Prime Minister Manuel Valls says security would be stepped up nationwide to ease growing unease in the country following 3 successive, apparently unrelated bloody attacks. While the motives behind the incidents, a knife attack on police and 2 cases of cars ploughing into passers-by remain unclear. The violence has jarred nerves after repeated jihadist calls for lone wolf action in France over its fight against Islamic extremism. The attacks both differ widely and present disturbing similarities, and Valls acknowledged there could be a copycat effect. Authorities have for months been on tenterhooks over the threat of violence inspired by Islamic extremism. In September, the radical Islamic State group that controls swaths of Iraq and Syria urged Muslims around the world to kill in any manner those from countries involved in a coalition fighting its jihadists, singling out the French.
Since last week, the Vigil Parades plan has been activated and step off for the Christmas and New Year period. Police and military patrols have been deployed primarily to places most frequently visited, commercial areas, town centers, stations, and transport networks. Each event over the past 3 days is, however, unrelated. Investigations under the prosecutor's authority are underway. They will help us understand what happened and what may lead to these individuals to behave in this way and commit such acts. The government and security services are working, and I am calling for national unity and for calm. This is how we will fight against these fears, but it should not overwhelm us. We will fight against all forms of violence which threaten to attack the very foundations of our society.
Despite controversies trailing the release of Sony Pictures' movie, The Interview, the film company has announced that it will be given a limited theatrical release in the U.S. on Christmas Day. The move comes just a week after it cancelled its release after suffering a devastating cyber attack. Sony chairman Michael Litton says he was excited that comedy about a plot to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un would now be seen. 2 cinemas in Atlanta and Austin have already reviewed screenings. They said via social media that Sony Pictures had authorized them to show the film, which has caused escalating tension between the U.S. and North Korea. The company has yet to reveal further details of its release plans, but there is also speculation that video on demand will be offered as part of the package. And just before we go on CoreTV Primetime News tonight, a recap of our major stories. We reported that President Goodluck Jonathan has proposed a hall of shame for criminals in Nigeria. The All Progressives Congress has replied to the PDP National Secretary over comments on Buhari. Finally, field queues have returned to Abuja despite the end of the oil workers' strike. Thank you so much for staying with us on CoreTV Primetime News. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebony Loma Digney wishing you a pleasant night rest.